In an era defined by the relentless roar of digital noise, our most precious human faculty, the ability to think deeply, is under siege. We live in a world that profits from our distraction, where every notification, every ping, and every infinite scroll is meticulously designed to fragment our attention. We have reached a point where being busy is often mistaken for being productive, and where reacting to the demands of others has replaced the intentional pursuit of our own highest potential. Yet amidst this chaos, a profound truth remains. The most significant achievements in human history, from scientific breakthroughs to timeless literature and innovative engineering, were never the products of a distracted mind. They were birthed in the sanctuary of focused, uninterrupted concentration. In his seminal work, Deep Work, Cal Newport argues that the capacity to perform at our cognitive peak is not just a productivity hack, it is the superpower of the 21st century. Newport distinguishes between shallow work, which keeps us tethered to the mundane and the repetitive, and deep work, which allows us to master complex subjects and produce results of extraordinary value. As the global economy increasingly automates routine tasks, the value of deep, creative, and analytical thinking continues to skyrocket. To work deeply is to respect your intellect. It is to treat your mind as a sacred instrument capable of producing excellence when given the right environment and discipline. However, reclaiming this focus is no easy feat. It requires more than just trying harder. It demands a fundamental shift in how we structure our days, how we interact with technology, and how we view our responsibility toward our own talents. It is about moving away from the superficiality of modern life and returning to a state of purposeful effort, a path that not only leads to professional success, but also fosters a deep sense of personal fulfillment and cognitive mastery. If you are ready to reclaim your focus, break free from the shackles of digital distraction, and master the art of high-impact work, you are in the right place. We invite you to join our journey of intellectual and professional growth. Subscribe to Read and Rise, hit the notification bell, and support the channel. Here, we don't just summarize books, we extract the life-changing strategies you need to rise above the noise and achieve true excellence in every endeavor. Let's embark on this path to mastery together. The first core idea: the architecture of impact, defining the deep versus the shallow. At the heart of Cal Newport's philosophy lies a fundamental reclassification of human effort. To navigate the modern professional landscape, one must first recognize that not all work is created equal. Newport introduces a sharp dichotomy that serves as the foundation for everything that follows: the distinction between deep work and shallow work. Deep work is the practice of professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration. This is not merely focusing, it is an intensive cognitive state that pushes your mental faculties to their absolute limits. It is within this state that the brain functions at its highest caliber, allowing for the synthesis of complex information and the creation of new, high-value output. Newport argues that deep work is essential for two reasons. It allows you to learn complicated things quickly, and it enables you to produce at an elite level in terms of both quality and speed. In essence, deep work is the heavy lifting of the mind. In stark contrast stands shallow work. These are the logistical-style tasks: answering non-urgent emails, attending unproductive meetings, or performing minor administrative chores. While these tasks might provide a temporary sense of being busy, they rarely contribute to long-term career growth or the creation of real value. Shallow work is easily replicable. It is the kind of work that can be automated or outsourced. The danger, as Newport warns, is that many professionals spend the majority of their lives marinating in the shallows, losing the very capacity to go deep. The economic necessity of depth. Newport's argument goes beyond simple time management. It is rooted in economic reality. We are moving into an economy that rewards those who can solve hard problems and create unique value. As the world becomes more automated, the average worker who only performs shallow tasks becomes obsolete. Therefore, the ability to work deeply is no longer just a nice-to-have skill, it is a survival mechanism. The second core idea, the discipline of depth. Rules for cultivating high-level focus. Understanding the value of deep work is only the beginning. The true challenge lies in its execution. Cal Newport posits that because our environment is inherently hostile to focus, we cannot rely on fleeting moments of inspiration. Instead, we must build a fortress of discipline through specific, actionable rules. 1. Choosing your depth philosophy. Newport emphasizes that there is no one-size-fits-all approach to deep work. He outlines 4 distinct philosophies, allowing individuals to choose the one that aligns with their professional reality. The monastic approach. This involves eliminating all shallow obligations and isolating oneself for long periods, akin to a monk in a monastery. The bimodal approach. This divides your time into clearly defined stretches of deep focus, days or weeks, and leaves the rest for everything else. The rhythmic approach, perhaps the most practical for many, involves turning deep work into a daily habit, such as dedicated deep hours every morning before the world wakes up. The journalistic approach, reserved for the highly disciplined, is the ability to shift into a deep state whenever a free moment arises. 2. Ritualizing the process. To reduce the friction of starting, Newport suggests creating rituals. This includes defining where you will work, a specific desk or room, how long you will work, setting a timer, and how you will support your brain, ensuring you have the necessary materials and no internet access. By ritualizing the start, you preserve your limited willpower for the work itself, rather than wasting it on the decision to begin. 3. The art of productive meditation. A unique strategy Newport introduces is productive meditation. This involves taking a period in which you are physically occupied but mentally free, such as walking, jogging, or driving, and focusing your attention on a single, well-defined professional problem. It is a rigorous exercise in strengthening your mental muscles, training you to pull your mind back whenever it wanders toward trivial distractions. 4. Embracing the boredom gap. One of the most profound insights in this section is the need to retrain the brain to tolerate boredom. If you are conditioned to check your phone the moment you feel a slight lull in stimulation, your brain loses its capacity for sustained concentration. Newport argues that you must embrace boredom in your downtime to be successful in your uptime. True focus is not a switch you flip. It is a muscle you build by refusing the constant urge for digital distraction. The third core idea, the dividends of depth, professional success and personal flourishing. Cal Newport argues that deep work is not merely a tool for efficiency, it is a multiplier for your life's output. While the discipline required is high, the return on investment is unparalleled, affecting both the quality of your career and the state of your well-being. 1. Mastery of complex skills at accelerated speeds. In the modern economy, the half-life of a skill is shrinking. What you know today may be obsolete in 5 years. Therefore, the most valuable skill is the ability to learn new complex things and learn them fast. Newport explains that through deep, undistracted focus, you trigger a biological process called myelination, the strengthening of neural pathways in the brain. By focusing intensely on a single skill, you literally wire your brain to perform that task better. Shallow work cannot achieve this. Only depth produces mastery. 2. The production of elite output. There is a simple but brutal formula for professional success. High-quality work produced equals time spent times intensity of focus. If your intensity of focus is near zero due to constant interruptions, your output will be mediocre no matter how many hours you log. Deep work allows you to produce elite results, work that is innovative, error-free, and difficult for others to replicate. In a competitive market, this distinction is what separates the top 1% from the rest of the pack. 3. The psychological state of flow and fulfillment. Beyond the material rewards, deep work leads to a more satisfying life. Newport draws on the concept of flow, a state of deep immersion where time seems to disappear. Human beings are at their happiest when they are challenged by a demanding task and are making progress toward a goal. Paradoxically, a day spent in deep work is much less exhausting and far more fulfilling than a day spent in the shallow fog of multitasking and emails. Deep work provides a sense of craftsmanship and meaning that is often missing in the modern corporate world. 4. Building a rare and valuable career. As the world becomes more distracted, the ability to concentrate becomes increasingly rare. In any market, scarcity creates value. If you can do what others cannot, focus deeply on hard problems, you become a linchpin in your organization or industry. You gain the leverage to dictate your terms, command higher compensation, and enjoy more autonomy over your time. The fourth core idea: strategic integration, navigating depth in a distracted world. Cal Newport acknowledges a harsh reality. We do not live in a vacuum. We have families, bosses, and social obligations. Therefore, the challenge is not just wanting to work deeply, but strategically integrating it into a life full of competing demands. This requires a transition from being a passive victim of your schedule to being an active architect of your time. 1. The fixed schedule productivity. One of Newport's most radical suggestions is to work backward from a fixed endpoint. Instead of working until the tasks are done, which often leads to late nights and shallow burnout, you set a firm boundary. For example, I will not work past 5:30 p.m. This constraint forces you to be ruthlessly efficient during the day. It highlights the shallow activities that are eating your time and compels you to prioritize the deep tasks that actually matter. 2. Scheduling every minute of your day. To the untrained eye, scheduling every minute might seem restrictive, but Newport argues it is actually liberating. When you don't have a plan, you default to what is easiest, checking social media or email. By giving every hour a specific job, you eliminate the decision fatigue that drains your willpower. You no longer ask, "What should I do now?" You simply look at your blueprint and execute. 3. The shutdown ritual for cognitive recovery. A key barrier to deep work is what Newport calls attention residue, the lingering thoughts about work that haunt your evening. To combat this, he proposes a formal shutdown ritual. At the end of the workday, you must 1. Update your to-do lists for tomorrow. 2. Review your calendar to ensure no deadlines are missed. And 3. Explicitly tell yourself, "Shutdown complete." This ritual signals to your brain that it is safe to stop worrying. By fully disconnecting, you allow your directed attention to recharge, ensuring that when you return to deep work the next morning, your brain is firing on all cylinders. 4. Making shallow work intentional. You cannot eliminate shallow work entirely, but you can drain it. Newport suggests batching small tasks, like answering all emails in 2 30-minute blocks rather than checking them throughout the day. By treating shallow work as a necessary but secondary activity, you protect your golden hours for the cognitively demanding tasks that build your career. The fifth core idea: the long-term arc, mastery, meaning, and the legacy of focus. In the final analysis, deep work is not merely a tactic for better performance, it is a philosophy of living. Cal Newport emphasizes that the consistent practice of depth over years, not just days, shapes the very trajectory of one's life and character. This long-term impact manifests in three transformative ways. 1. The compounding effect of rare skills. Just as financial capital compounds over time, so does career capital. When you dedicate yourself to deep work, the skills you acquire become increasingly rare and valuable. Over a decade, the gap between the deep worker and the shallow worker becomes an unbridgeable chasm. The deep worker doesn't just get a promotion, they redefine their field, create original intellectual property, and achieve a level of indispensability that provides ultimate job security. 2. The connection between depth and meaning. There is a profound connection between focus and the human spirit. Newport argues that a deep life is a good life. When you spend your hours engaged in high-level challenges, you avoid the fragmentation and anxiety that come with a hyper-connected, shallow existence. Meaning is found in the craft, the act of doing something exceptionally well. Deep work allows you to take pride in your output, fostering a sense of purpose that transcends mere economic gain. 3. Cognitive resilience and intellectual longevity. In an age of digital dementia and shortening attention spans, those who practice deep work are preserving their most vital organ, the brain. By consistently pushing your cognitive limits, you maintain mental sharpness and agility well into your later years. You are not just producing work, you are building a resilient mind that is capable of original thought in a world of echoes. Conclusion: embracing the deep life. Deep Work by Cal Newport is far more than a manual for productivity. It is a manifesto for excellence in an age of distraction. It challenges us to stop equating busyness with importance and to start valuing the sanctity of our own attention. The book teaches us that the ability to concentrate is a skill that must be practiced, a habit that must be guarded, and a commitment that must be renewed every single day. As we have explored, the path to mastery requires us to define our work clearly, ritualize our focus, embrace necessary boredom, and strategically protect our downtime. By doing so, we don't just become more efficient employees or entrepreneurs, we become more present, more capable, and more fulfilled human beings. In a world that is constantly shouting for your attention, the most powerful thing you can do is look away from the noise and dive deep into the work that truly matters. Your potential is vast, but it can only be unlocked through the key of undistracted focus. Thank you for joining us on this intellectual journey at Read and Rise. We hope this deep dive into Newport's principles has not only informed you, but transformed how you view your time and your talent. If you found value in this exploration, we invite you to support the channel by subscribing and sharing this summary with those who are striving for excellence. Join our community as we continue to rise together, one book at a time, mastering the strategies that lead to a life of high impact and profound meaning. Because in a distracted world, your ability to work deeply is indeed your greatest superpower.